My belief system was aligned to believe that I truly had no power to change my circumstance or my life, and that everything in it was the reason my life sucked, as opposed to how was I a contributing member of living in a state of victimhood. So that is the message of my life's journey, where I lived as a victim for more than half of my life. I've still, to this day, because I haven't out-aged it yet, I've still been a victim longer than I've lived in a state of empoweredness.
I'm here today with my friend Vin Infante. Vin, what's good, bro?
Knowledge is potential power. Knowledge is not power, it is potential power. Action and application is everything. I read one book a week. Like, what will that actually do for you? I said, I'd be more impressed by you if you read one book, applied every piece of knowledge, and became a freaking millionaire from that one book. You want to impress people? Stop going on ego trips and trying to consume knowledge without application.
You're listening to the Real Business Connections Network. Real Business Connections Network. Powered by Balbert Marketing, LLC. Subscribe now and check us out at realbusinessconnections.com. Enjoy the show.
Welcome, everyone, once again to 15-Minute Friday on the Real Business Connections Network. I'm here today with my friend Vin Infante. Vin, what's good, bro?
It's been a busy day so far, Ben, but we're looking forward and excited to be here and share some insights with you and your audience.
Same here. It's been busy. The next 15 minutes is just me, you, and the listener. And funny, the way I found Vin, I did not wear this on purpose, but I'm wearing a Nick Santanastasso Victorious shirt. And you spoke to his mastermind. He's a buddy of yours?
Yep. So he's a really good guy, and I'm blessed to know him as a friend.
Cool. And one last thing to introduce you to the listener. You're a mental performance coach, transformational speaker, former firefighter, and licensed psychotherapist. Currently, Vin's on a mission to impact 1 billion lives. Did we miss anything?
I mean, I got a daughter. That's a pretty big highlight. I mean, it's not in the bio, but it's massively underrated as to how awesome that part of my life is.
100%. So impacting 1 billion lives, that's going to happen one transformation at a time. Let's see if we can do that for the listener today. Start us off with, something inspirational, something tweetable or Xable, we can call it nowadays, a quote to get the podcast started.
Xable, that's a new one, actually. I haven't heard that. Okay.
Made it up on the spot.
I love it. As long as it's not referencing your ex, right? We don't want nobody go out there and message your ex. Not the point of this. But my favorite quote, and this is something I've made up, is you're either passively experiencing life or consciously creating it. And the reason that's my favorite quote is because that is the message of my life's journey, where I lived as a victim for more than half of my life. I've still, to this day, because I haven't out-aged it yet, I've still been a victim longer than I've lived in a state of empoweredness. And so I know living in victimhood is passively experiencing life. And when you step into empowerment and you build a life you truly want to live, it's all about intentionality. It's all about conscious creation. So that's the quote. I want you guys write it down, make it your notable quotable. You can steal that, Ben. Make it your notable quotable and hold that with you as we talk here today and as you look forward to creating the life you want to live.
Love it. And let's talk about how you shifted that perspective. I know it's called 15-Minute Friday. Take your time, brother. So what did victimhood, the better half of your life thus far, what did that look like for you? What does it feel to be a victim?
Well, if any of your listeners can, I guess if any of your listeners are in victimhood, or they've ever been in victimhood, or they're still there today, one of the things that you might experience is that the world is against you in some way, shape, or form. They target you. There's a bully out there. There's an unfair circumstance. You grew up in a crappy home life. Your friends suck. Your job sucks. Your income sucks. Seemingly everything and everyone around you sucks. But the really interesting part is the common denominator is you. So could it be that everyone and everything actually sucks? Or could it be that the way you view life, the way you've been creating your life, and the way you've been experiencing your life sucks. And I want to pause on that. I want you guys to think about that for a second. Could it be that maybe the world doesn't suck? Maybe the way you're experiencing and living life sucks. And so that was something that I didn't realize. Living as a victim was, I'm upset because I have a bully. I'm upset because I don't fit in anywhere. I'm upset because I'm not strong enough to defend myself. Whatever the case is, all of these ways I gave away my power. These were all things that were keeping me in a state of victimhood, where my belief system was aligned to believe that I truly had no power to change my circumstance or my life, and that everything in it was the reason my life sucked, as opposed to how was I a contributing member of living in a state of victimhood. So any of you listeners out there, even keep that as a perspective shift. How are you perhaps contributing to the way that your life is currently, I don't know, performing, the way you're getting results or outcomes? And we don't always think about that. How am I contributing? There are definitely ways, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as we keep diving into the conversation. I got a few for you.
Yeah. And it's fair to say I'm cautious because things happen to us kind of out of our control sometimes that really suck. But a lot of what happens to us is our own contribution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
And it's 100% fair to say. And the first part of what you said doesn't matter. I'm not saying that to diminish you or throw
Please.
shade at you.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what happens. What matters is how you respond to it.
Sure.
The outcomes in your life aren't based on what happens around you. It's actually based on how you respond to the things that happen around you, because that creates a chain reaction. Think about it like this. If someone punches you in the face and you do nothing, the reaction, the chain of events stop there. They literally stop there. Now, does that mean you should get punched in the face and eat it? Again, up to you to decide. Doesn't personally impact me. However, you have to decide how far you want things to go. So it's not about having control over life. It's about having control over yourself and having control in how you respond, react, and start shaping outcomes based on yourself. Because the economy could suck, which it kind of does at the moment. The politics can suck, which it kind of does at the moment. The world could be crazy, which kind of is at the moment. But none of that truly matters. If the economy sucks, go find a way to make more money. If you don't like politics, you either get really involved and you do something to change it, or you stay far out of it. If war is happening or the world is crazy, can you do something about it? No, then why get so ingrained in it? Or if you can, good, then go do something, make a difference. It always comes down to, even though people like to say it's not super black and white, we can distill things down to an extremely black and white scenario if you are clear on what outcomes you want, if you are consciously creating. Because if you know the outcomes you want, it is actually a very simple chain of events that you need to take to get there.
Let's talk about that chain of events. And I love that you said chain of events. So you tell me, does the transformation happen in a snap? Maybe you can move in a snap, but what does the transformation look like? Does it take time? Is it overnight? How can I move away from this victim mentality? I personally spend most of my life complaining about stuff, and it's even part of my story, and it's a compelling part of my story, but I almost am sick of talking about it because I don't think that way anymore. Like, most of us live in victimhood. How do we shift out of it?
Well, I think it's an interesting aspect that people view change as a process. It's not true. Change isn't actually the process. Change is the outcome. Change does happen at the snap of a finger. Let's take, for example, getting married, becoming a husband or a wife. Instantaneous. The minute you say I do, done, you're married. That change did not take more than 1 second. It's the process to get to the life-altering moment that takes time. So everything always comes back down to the process. People want the outcome. They don't want the process. They want to get married and have a happy family. They don't want to date for 4 years, figure out each other, learn each other's cultures, learn each other's processes, work as a team, go through fights, make up, fight again, figure out why they fought. They don't want to do all that. They just want to get married, be happy, and like, why do I have to go through all this? Because that's how you get the outcome. Everything is shaped by the process you're going to go through to achieve the transformation. Now, one of the more interesting things is certain transformations you don't always see, certain ones you can. Fitness, it's a very gradual transformation. But all transformation, funny enough, whether you could see it or not, all transformation is an internal game. If you are someone who's 300 pounds and you are tired of your knees hurting when you go up the steps, if you're tired of breathing heavy every time you open your mouth to talk, if you're exhausted all the time and you're fatigued, and you hate this person that you have become. If you're out there listening right now, I feel you. But if you hate that, what you have to do is you first have to believe that you are not still that person, because everything comes back to the identity. You don't take actions based on who you want to become. You take actions based on who you believe you are. That's why people sit there and they're like, well, I'm 350 pounds. I should lose weight. Saying you should lose weight does not indicate that you actually are that person right there in that moment that wants to lose the weight, right? So what you start doing is you embody this. You say, I am a fit person, even though the world can't see it yet. Even though everyone's going to laugh that you say you're fit and you're 350 pounds and can't breathe. Everyone will believe you're crazy. It doesn't matter what they believe. What matters is what you believe. So believe that you are that fit person. Believe that you are that person who, you're 150 pounds, you're shredded, you love your body, you love your life, you have energy, vitality, joy, excitement, etc. As you welcome all of that into your life, it starts doing something. There's actually like a proven power behind, for instance, visualization, which is the start of the chain. You have to see life better than it is. You have to see yourself more capable than you are, because what that does is it literally transforms how you start thinking, how your neural connections are, how you're experiencing life. And as you invite that part of you into this present day and age, you start taking actions, behaviors, steps, alignment to that person that you are creating. And now you're the person that's going to go to the gym, even though it's hard for you. And you're going to eat better, even though it's not necessarily fun for you yet. And all of these things just start shifting. And you have to believe that you're the fit person so that the fit person can come out of the fat person.
Love it. So I'm going to wrap this up into a sentence and tell me if I nailed it or if we need to expand.
Go for it.
You believe, but it sounds like the actions provide evidence around the belief. Can I just believe my way to fitness without taking all those massive daily actions? So it sounds like it's belief coupled with the action, like what would the fit person do, and then following that footstep. Is that correct?
Yes. I'll give you guys another notable quotable. Write this one down.
Yes.
You have knowledge. Knowledge is potential power. Knowledge is not power. It is potential power. Action and application is everything. If you, and I always give people this scenario to prove this point. If I were to have you read 500 books from the best fitness authors in the world about training and nutrition and macros and micros and all that crap, and you were so inept, so adept at fitness and health and lifestyle changes. And I said, great, now that you have all that information, you can never teach it. You can never apply it and do it yourself. You can only hold it in your brain. You can never sell it as a book. You can't give it to anyone and you can't utilize it yourself. What will that knowledge actually do for you? Because the point of taking in knowledge should be to get a life-changing result from it. Like I had a client one time who was talking to me and he said, I want to read 52 books this year. I said, why do you have such a big ego? And he said, what do you mean? I said, because you're going to read 52 books. Please tell me, unless these books are like 5 pages each, please tell me how much actual knowledge you're not only going to absorb, but utilize to get any type of results in your life. I guarantee by your 5th book, you're already going to forget everything in the first 4 because you're not reading to retain. You're reading so you could go out to the public and tell people, I read 52 books a year. I'm on this massive ego trip. I read 1 book a week. Like, what will that actually do for you? I said, I'd be more impressed by you if you read 1 book, applied every piece of knowledge, and became a freaking millionaire from that 1 book. You want to impress people? Stop going on ego trips and trying to consume knowledge without application.
Preach. I hope you pitch some people off too. I would disagree if I disagreed. I completely agree with you. Something I'm trying to do now is just, I've got my top 5, 10 books. I'm going to reread each of them 3 to 5 times. I wasn't getting any benefit. And podcasting, even, you just gave a great segue. What's the purpose of this podcast if we don't implement, if we don't integrate? So I know this was a quick hit, but you hit us with a lot of knowledge quickly here. How can we take what we just learned, and even if it's just a 1 degree change, which on a compass makes a huge difference, even if it's just a 1 degree change, how can we integrate what we just learned into our lives starting right now?
And see, it's an interesting point that you bring up too, is because people forget to enjoy the process because they don't realize how such minuscule changes could actually be life altering. Like there was research done by one of the world's more famous plastic surgeons. And he said that the thing that stops everybody from being basically a walking Greek god or goddess is virtually could be fixed by a 2 millimeter shift.
Wow.
That's the thing that stops all of us from walking around looking like supermodels. Could be, and don't get me wrong, some people probably need some bigger shifts, but the average person could be shifted with 2 millimeters and look phenomenal. So keep that in mind as you continue to take action and you wonder, well, am I actually doing anything with this? Because I don't feel it yet, or I don't see it yet, or I don't understand it yet. You have to trust the process will work out. So part of that process for you people that I would like to offer to you today is what I call my 5 aspects of self-mastery. If you want to start consciously creating your life, you need to only focus on 5 things in life. Now, as we said before, you can't always focus on what happens to you. However, you can control how you respond and react to things. That's the point of the 5 aspects of mastery. 5 aspects of mastery challenge you to look inwards and unlock your inner leader, or as I like to say, unleash the leader within. We all have a leader within us, and it is not about a title or position. It's more about how you show up in life. To Ben's point before, can you ask the question of how would a fit person show up and then take those actions? 100%. That's how you build any identity. You have to have a clear, concise guideline as to how you would actually get there and achieve that. And then you just do it every damn day until you're it. So you believe it until you become it, but you become it by taking the action. But you can't take the action if you don't believe that's who you're capable of being, right? So it all feeds into one another. So without further ado, please write these down, anyone listening who wants to achieve some real change in their life. The 5 aspects of mastery are your thoughts, your language, your behaviors, your emotion, and your action. Outside of those 5 things, you cannot control anything else. And I'll say it again for anybody who doesn't feel like replaying it and who's a slow writer. It is your thoughts, your behaviors, your actions, your emotions, and your language. Now, I gave it to you in a different order that time. I forgot how I gave it to you the first time. However, the 5 still remain. So, if I may, I'm actually going to use Ben as an example real quick. Ben, do you mind if I use you an example on your own podcast?
Yeah, let's rock.
Perfect. So Ben said something before, and he said the word that I absolutely hate, and I yell at every single client I have to never, ever, ever use this word ever again and ever, because I will yell at them forever. He said, try. I hate the word try. The worst word in the English dictionary. It's also an absolvement of responsibility and accountability. And I'm not saying that Ben doesn't want to be accountable and responsible for his life. He does not strike me as that person to any of you listeners. However, when we say try, it is an extremely gray area. Remember I said everything can kind of be distilled to black and white if we really just break it down enough? So Ben is holding a pen right now for any of you that cannot see this on video. And if I were to tell Ben, can you try and pick up that pen or try and put down that pen? Ben, what would your options be there?
Pick up or put down.
Pick up or put down. So then what would try be? What would try look like?
Well, it would be a decision.
Is it? Is try a decision?
Well, I wouldn't try. I would just do it.
Correct.
There would be no try. I would be making a decision. Would I like to put up, put down? And one thing you said, not in a negative context, is should. It's like, it's not what I should do. It's what do I want to do? I either pick it up or I put it down. I pick it up because I want to write something. I put it down because I'm not writing something. It's a decision.
Yeah. Exactly. So try, whenever anyone is out there and they're telling me I'm trying something, I say, so you're actually not making a decision. What you're doing is you're absolving yourself the responsibility to make a decision. This is one of the key factors of the 5 aspects of mastery is understanding how important language is. Because even though we say something and it has, maybe it doesn't have much meaning, or hell, we've heard it a million times as a kid, just keep trying, don't ever give up. What is trying? If we truly break it down, trying is nothing. Trying is the absence of a decision, is the absence of accountability, responsibility, ownership, the things you truly need to get any type of result in life. So when you're using language, your subconscious mind is also picking up on that. That's why language is so powerful. So you don't realize, but when you say try every time, your brain is actually not coming up with the idea or the sense that you are making a decision. Your brain will actually become more and more indecisive as you use less decisive language. So it's very important that you audit these aspects of your life. My favorite one to audit being language. And I do that a lot with my clients, and I yell at them, like, if I ever hear you say try again, I'm going to sit there and just make you continue to correct yourself. And I will do that in session. I will sit with someone like, well, I'm really trying to do this. I'm like, I'm sorry, you're doing what? You're either doing it or you're not. You're either trying.
Yeah.
And what the hell is that? Or you could say, I'm doing. And then guess what? It allows for more definitive understandings. I did it. Great. Did it work? Yes or no? No, it didn't, or yes, it did. If it didn't, why? What can we improve? What can we learn? What can we fix? How can we grow? And if it did, cool. Do we want to enhance? Do we want to do it again? Do we want to try and do we want to challenge ourselves to do it at an elevated level? So when you get rid of non-definitive languages, you get rid of things that remove gray, all of a sudden, you actually create a more action-oriented mindset. You create bigger and better clarity, and you can actually start consciously building so much more than you ever thought previously.
So I know we're running long, but I want to ask you this. Take what I said and flip it and show me like what a better way to affirm this kind of thing would be. So let's say I were to say, I think I should try to do better with my language because it might help me get better, possibly, because Vin said I should.
That's such an awful sentence. The whole thing should just be gone.
How, same concept, how can we relanguage that?
You have to, so first is you have to build awareness.
Yeah.
Right? So for anyone who, let's just say you really, if we're just focusing on language, let's say, what you should do is you should start writing down things that you're saying throughout the day. Now, here's another kicker. Because we're actually talking about this, for all of you listeners, your reticular activating system, which is a part of the brain that creates hyper awareness around the things that you brought your attention to, that you actually want to change. Like for somebody who's listening to this and like, I could change my language. That would be helpful for me. Your reticular activating system, or the RAS for short, is going to really start picking up on the things you say. Like you might say try later and be like, oh crap, I just said it. And so I would say start writing down your language because you need someone to challenge. An unchallenged thought is an unchanged thought. There's another quotable. An unchallenged thought is an unchanged thought. So if you're saying things like, I think, I should, maybe I could, I try, this, that, usually with my clients, I will just continue to challenge it. So if they say, well, I think I can improve my language, I'll say, do you think you can improve your language, or do you know you can improve your language?
Right.
Well, yeah, it could probably help me. Okay, could it help you? Or do you think it might help you? Because you need to challenge people to start rewiring their brain by breaking them out of that pattern, that habit, because those are habitual answers. Those, I think maybe that stuff's pattern because of a few things. One, they talk indecisive and they're used to it. Two, they don't truly believe in themselves. Three, they're unsure of what results they'll get because they haven't actually committed to it. So there could be many reasons. And this is why a coach, a mentor, a therapist, somebody that could give you a third party perspective is so important. But there could be many reasons you struggle with a whole melody of things. You need to explore it. So if you don't have someone to challenge you, start doing it yourself. There's psychological techniques in the sense where you can write things down. For instance, if you want to understand what your biggest and most relevant emotion is, aka your emotional home, the thing you do most often, the emotion you feel most often, there's a technique in cognitive behavioral therapy where literally every time you have a emotional reaction to something, you just write down the situation and write down the emotion that came up for you. At the end of 30 days, if you do this for every situation that comes up that evokes emotion, you will notice a pattern that there is one emotion that sticks out more than any other. And boom, that's your emotional home. Now you start working with that. So if you create a high enough awareness in whatever you want to change, you could actually start shifting it. So the first part is to understand what you want to change. Maybe it's language, maybe it's behaviors, actions, thoughts, emotion, whatever it is. Create massive clarity, challenge it, look for what you do want, like maybe more definitive language, and then start challenging yourself to do that. Next time you catch yourself saying, I think, no, wait, I don't think. Okay, I know if I do this, it'll make me a better person. And like, go with that, rewire your brain.
Is it fair to say this was just a nibble of the things we can learn? Tell us where to go next to learn more from you, get involved, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I mean, that was just one of the 5 aspects in a crash course in neuroscience and all that other good stuff. So there's plenty that I got for you. You can check out my website if anybody is interested in diving deeper. I'm happy to invite you to have a conversation with me. It's on my website. It's vincentinfante.life. I also have some free resources on there. I'd love for you to have. I do a personal development newsletter twice a month. Check it out. I have a free resource called the Mission Board. It's better than a vision board because 1, I made it, and 2, is a lot more intentional than your average vision board. And lastly, check out the socials. I'm going to be posting a lot more content soon. I've been ramping up behind the scenes, editing, all that great stuff. So check out the socials. It's all Vin Infante. And on Instagram, it's vin.infante, which is my most active platform. So check me out there and anywhere else.
Boom. That's in the show notes. You can also just DM me and I'll send you the links, or go straight to the source and DM Vin. Appreciate you, brother, for coming on the show, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks a lot, Ben. Appreciate you, man.
You will.